Hi, I'm Patrick Reagan. Welcome to the Windows Operating Systems, Part 1, Windows Editions, Versions, and Basic Features. This will start with introducing Windows 10 and 11 and the various editions and versions that are available with each. It will discuss the support channels, upgrading paths for Windows 10 and 11, and some of the notable features that's included with Windows 10 and 11. While Windows 10 has ended extended support for the general channel, it should be noted that Windows 10 is covered on the CompTIA A+1202 exam and it still has a strong presence. As always, stick around for the practice questions at the end to test your knowledge and help you prepare for the A+ exam. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to click the like button, and if you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Has Your Back channel for more tech training content and technical know-how. Windows 10 is the successor to Windows 7, 8, and 8.1. It was released on July 29, 2015. Mainstream support ended on October 13, 2020, and extended support ended October 14, 2025. It should be noted that Windows 10 LTSC 2021 extended support ends January 12, 2027, and Windows 10 LTSC 2021 IoT ends January 13, 2032. Windows 10 requirements include the following: 1 GHz processor or faster, 32-bit x86, or 64-bit, although it is recommended to have a 64-bit 4-core processor or more. 1 GB of RAM for 32-bit, or 2 GB of RAM for 64-bit, with a recommended minimum of 4 to 8 GB of memory. 16 GB of hard drive space for 32-bit, or 20 GB for 64-bit. DirectX 9 graphics device with WDM 1.0 or higher, and a display of 800 by 600 or more. Windows 10 is a single platform designed for desktops, laptops, tablets, phones, and all-in-one devices. Windows 10 is the final version of Windows that supports 32-bit processors and devices with BIOS firmware. The Start menu has a list of places and other options on the left side, and tiles representing applications on the right. The menu can be resized and expanded into full screen display, which is the default option in tablet mode. While Windows is the most common personal computer operating system, the current versions are Windows 10 and Windows 11. It includes two architectures, 32-bit and 64-bit, multiple primary editions including Home, Pro, Pro for Workstation, and Enterprise, and multiple versions released once or twice a year. Windows 10 can use either 32-bit architecture or 64-bit architecture, while Windows 11 only has the 64-bit version. The 32-bit versions of Windows can only run on 32-bit or 64-bit processors, limited to 4 GB of memory, and has a limited processing compared to the 64-bit processors. It can support 32-bit applications and some older 16-bit applications. Data Execution Prevention, or DEP, is used to protect against some security attacks. 64-bit Windows, which is today's standard, requires a 64-bit processor and can support up to 2 terabytes of RAM depending on your editions of Windows. It requires 64-bit digitally signed drivers for enforced better system reliability. It supports both 32-bit and 64-bit applications, as well as some 16-bit applications using the Program Compatibility Wizard or using Windows XP mode virtual machine. DEP is always on for 64-bit processes. For Windows 10, to upgrade from 32-bit to 64-bit Windows, you'll have to format the drive and reinstall Windows. Be sure to back up your data. Make sure you have all applications to reinstall, and locate any necessary 64-bit drivers. Windows 10 Home is designed for use in PCs, tablets, and 2-in-1 PCs. It includes all the features directed at consumers. It includes integration with Microsoft Account and Microsoft OneDrive Backup, Windows Defender, antivirus and anti-malware, and Cortana, which provides voice commands for OS. It does not support joining to a domain or GPOs and can only be used to connect to remote desktop computers. You cannot connect to a client running Windows 10 Home. Windows 10 Pro is a business version of Windows, and it includes all the features of Windows 10 Home. It supports connection to the client via remote desktop, BitLocker full disk encryption, Hyper-V virtual machine server, and supports joining to Windows domain and supports domain group policies. Windows 10 Pro for Workstation is for high-end desktops with enhanced performance and storage options. It includes all the features of Windows 10 Pro and supports more physical processors, up to 4 processors. It supports up to 6 terabytes of memory. While NTFS is the default file system, Windows 10 Pro for Workstation also supports Resilient File System, or REFS. Windows 10 Enterprise is built for larger companies and requires volume licensing. It includes all the features from Windows 10 Pro for Workstations and includes supporting up to 6 gigabytes of memory. It supports App Locker, which can control what application can run, Branch Cache, which is remote site file caching, and granular user experience control using kiosk and workstation customization. Windows 10 Education is an addition of the operating system designed specifically for use by students, teachers, and administrators in academic environments from K-12 to universities. It is available primarily through Microsoft's academic volume licensing programs. It has all of the features of Windows 10 Enterprise. Windows 10N and 11N versions are Windows editions distributed in Europe that lack media-related technologies including Windows Media Player, Groove Music, video, films and TV, voice recorder, and Skype. These versions were created in compliance with European antitrust rulings that sought to prevent Microsoft from using its operating system to promote its own media applications over those of competitors. While they contain the same core features as other Windows editions, user can install a separate media feature pack from Microsoft to re-enable these multimedia functions. Windows 10 Enterprise is configurable on 2 servicing channels, General Availability Channel and Long-Term Servicing Channel, or LTSC. For Enterprise Edition, you can install Enterprise General Availability Channel or Enterprise LTSC. There's also the Windows Insider program for business. The General Availability Channel enables customers who are innovating quickly to take advantage of new operating systems capabilities at a faster pace. Feature updates are released annually. As long as the device isn't set to defer feature updates, any device in the channel will install a feature update as soon as it's released. If you use Windows Update for Business, the channel provides 3 months of additional total deployment time before being required to update to the next release. The channel provides 3 months of additional total deployment time before being required to update to the next release. Each release in this channel is supported for 18 months from the initial release. Semi-annual channel devices receive regular quality and security updates to ensure that the device's security stays up to date. The Long-Term Servicing Channel, or LTSC, is designed for Windows 10 and 11 devices in use cases where the key requirements is that functionalities and features don't change over time. For example, embedded systems that include medical systems such as those used for MRI and CAT scans, industrial process controllers, and air traffic control devices. These devices share characteristics of embedded systems. They're typically designed for a specific purpose and are developed, tested, and certified before use. Microsoft promises to support each LTSC release for 10 years and that features and functionalities will not change over the course of that 10-year lifecycle. Each LTSC release receives 10 years of servicing and support. As with the semi-annual channel, LTSC devices receive regular quality and security updates to ensure that devices' security stays up to date. While quality updates are available for Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC, you can choose to defer them using tools such as Windows Update for Business or System Center Configuration Manager. The Windows User Preview channel is open to registered Windows Insider program users. The new Windows 11 version is released as a preview build ahead of the official release date, and it allows users to get access to upcoming improvements ahead of time to support logistical planning. This program is not available for Windows 10 since it's no longer being actively developed. It allows you to test drive new features of Windows so that you can see how it can affect you and your organization before they're widely made available. Typically, you should use the Windows Inside program on machines that are dedicated lab machines or test systems. It should not be used on production systems. Retail are standalone versions of Windows which can be transferred from one computer to another as many times as you want. OEM is short for Original Equipment Manufacturer. When you purchase a computer that includes Windows, it is most likely an OEM version of Windows. OEM versions of Windows is licensed to that computer only and is not transferable. Typically, OEM versions of Windows are less expensive than retail versions. This table shows the amount of memory that each Windows edition can use. As you can see, 32-bit versions of Windows can only support up to 4 gigabytes of memory since it's based on the 32-bit address bus that only supports up to 4 gigabytes of memory. For 64-bit versions of Windows, Home Edition supports up to 128 gigabytes of memory, while Windows Pro supports up to 2 terabytes of memory. Pro for Workstations, Enterprise, and Education support up to 6 terabytes of memory. Remember, Windows 11 only comes in x64 versions. There are 14 versions of Windows 10 that were released throughout the years, mostly twice per year. For the version number, the first 2 digits of the Windows 10 version are taken from the release year. The last 2 digits of the Windows 10 versions are taken either from the month it was released, such as 03 or 09, or the half of the year. First half of the calendar year would be H1, or the second part of the calendar year would be H2. Example, Windows 10 21H2 was released in the second half of 2021. The build number, major.minor.build.rev. For example, 10.0.19044.1202. The major version is 10, the minor version is 0, and the build is 19044. The rev is 1202. To see Windows version, open Settings and go to the About screen. System type shows the 64-bit operating system. Windows specification shows version and OS build number. You can also open the command prompt, and the version number is also shown in System Information or sysinfo. You can generally upgrade to a higher edition of Windows, including keeping personal data, settings, and applications. You can perform an in-place upgrade from Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 to Windows 10, but not Windows 8.0 to Windows 10. An in-place upgrade allows you to go from an older operating system to a newer one while keeping your settings and applications. You should perform a full backup of Windows, applications, and data before the upgrade. You may need to install service packs, security and applications, and update drivers and applications before or after upgrading to Windows. You can use a Windows 10 that is not activated for 1 month after installation without any restrictions. Once the 1-month grace period expires, you'll need to activate the OS with the product key, or you will not be able to personalize your system appearance, and you will have the constant presence of an Activate Windows watermark. You can upgrade from a lower Windows 10 edition to a higher Windows 10 edition, such as Home to Pro Workstation, and Pro to Enterprise, either by purchasing a code and entering it into the activation settings, or by buying the upgrade via the activation settings in the Microsoft Store app. You cannot upgrade directly from Home to Enterprise. Windows 11 was released on October 5th, 2021. It brings a brand new, more Mac-like interface to the OS. The Start menu moves to the center of the screen along with the taskbar. You can move the Start menu and taskbar back to the left if you desire. It also supports Android app integration, improved virtual desktop support where you can toggle between multiple desktops such as personal, work, school, or gaming, and it allows users to access the files from any of their devices. It has improved widgets. A widget is a small card that displays dynamic content from an app or service. It has better support for touchscreen, voice, and pen, gaming upgrades, performance upgrades, snap layouts, and Microsoft Teams is built directly into the taskbar. This picture shows the Windows 11 desktop and the Start menu open. If you click the All Apps button, you can see all the applications shown in the Start menu. This figure shows a Windows 11 widget. Windows 11 requires the following: processor 1 GHz or faster with 2 or more cores on a compatible 64-bit processor or system-on-a chip or SoC. It's recommended to have quad-core processors or higher. You should have 4 gigabytes of memory, and it's recommended to have a minimum of 16 gigabytes of memory. You should have 64 gigabytes or larger storage device. For system firmware, you need to have UEFI with secure boot capable, and your system needs to have a Trusted Platform Module or TPM version 2.0 or higher. For graphics cards, you need to be compatible with DirectX 12 or later with WDDM 2.0 driver. For the display, you need to have high definition 720p display that is greater than the 9-inch diagonal 8 bits per color channel. 720p includes 720 horizontal lines and 1,280 columns and an aspect ratio of 16:9, normally known as widescreen HD. Trusted Platform Module, or TPM 2.0, is a hardware component that protects cryptographic secrets, enhanced security by preventing unauthorized code from running before the operating system loads, and is used by features like BitLocker for disk encryption. Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, or UEFI, is a system firmware that replaced the legacy BIOS. It is required for Windows 11 and must be configured to support the Secure Boot feature, which ensures that the system boots only with software that is trusted. Microsoft is expected to release a new version of Windows 11 once per year. Microsoft Home and Pro versions are supported for 2 years, and Home Edition does not support the deferral of feature updates, will therefore typically receive a new version of Windows 11 prior to the end of servicing date. Microsoft Enterprise versions are supported for 3 years. New feature release of Windows 11 is being released once a year in the second half of the year. Similar to Windows 10 version number, the first 2 digits of the Windows 11 version are taken from the release year, and the last 2 characters indicate the second half of the calendar year. Example, Windows 11 24H2 was released in the second half of 2024. Similar to Windows 10, the build number is major.minor.build.rev. For example, 10.0.26100.6899, the major build number is 10, the minor build number is 0, and the build is 26100 with a rev of 6899. Windows 11 still shows version 10 because it's built on the same NT kernel as Windows 10 and to provide backward compatibility to prevent older applications from incorrectly detecting Windows 11 as an unsupported OS. Remember, general release versions are supported for 3 years, and the Enterprise LTSC versions are supported for 5 years. LTSC IoT Enterprise versions are supported for 10 years. You can upgrade to Windows 11 primarily from a compatible Windows 10 PC or by performing a clean installation. The direct in-place upgrade path is only support from Windows 10, not earlier versions like Windows 7 or 8.1. Before attempting any upgrade, you should first check if your PC meets the minimum system requirements for Windows 11. Use the Microsoft PC Health Check app for an automatic assessment. For devices running a supported version of Windows 10, version 2004 or later, and meeting the hardware requirements, there are 3 primary methods to upgrade. Via Windows Update. The simplest method is to wait for the Windows 11 upgrade notification to appear in your settings. Go to Settings, Update and Security, and Windows Updates. Click Check for Updates. If your device is eligible, a banner will appear offering the free upgrade. Click Download and Install to begin. With the Installation Assistant, this tool can be used to manually initiate the upgrade if it's not yet available through Windows Update. Download the Windows 11 installation systems from the Microsoft website and run the tool and accept the license terms. The tool will download and install Windows 11, and you can continue using your PC while the download progresses. Using installation media or ISOs. You can create a bootable installation media to upgrade from within the Windows 10 while keeping your files and apps. Download the media creation tool from the Microsoft website. Alternatively, you can use a tool called Rufus, which is a free open source Windows utility for creating bootable USB drives. You would create a bootable USB drive or download the ISO file, and then open the installation media and run setup.exe. You would choose the option to keep personal files and apps to do the upgrade. A clean install of Windows is the process of completely erasing a computer's hard drive and then installing a fresh new copy of the operating system. This process removes all personal files install programs and settings, giving you a completely clean slate to start from. A clean install is also performed to fix persistent performance issues, remove malware, eliminate bloatware, or prepare a system for a new user. A clean installation is required if you're upgrading from an unsupported operating system such as Windows 7 or 8.1, or if your Windows 10 PC does not meet the minimum requirements. A clean installation will completely erase the old operating system and all files on the hard drive. When performing a clean installation on a system that already has Windows, back up your files to make sure you save all important documents, photos, and other data to an external drive or cloud storage like OneDrive, as this process will wipe your primary drive. Create installation media by using the media creation tool from the Microsoft website or use Rufus. You then boot from the media by restarting your PC and boot from the USB drive. You may need to enter your PC's BIOS or UEFI settings to change the boot order. Install Windows 11 by following the on-screen prompts during setup. When prompted for the installation type, choose Custom, install Windows Only Advanced. Then delete all existing partitions on your main drive and then select the unallocated space to install Windows 11. Follow the rest of the setup wizard to complete the installation. Computers on a network can be part of a workgroup or a domain. For workgroup, all computers are peers. Each computer has its own security database and a set of user accounts. To log on to any computer in the workgroup, you must have an account on that computer. A workgroup is usually used on small networks with less than 20 computers. Domains use a centralized security database such as Active Directory that are stored on servers known as domain controllers, which are used to control the security and permissions for all computers on the domain. Domains user 1 can log on to any computer on the domain using a centralized account, assuming the user has permission to log into the computer. Domains allow the administrator to control computer settings to ensure consistency among computers. Domains can support thousands of computers and used in larger companies or companies that require better security. While a workstation running Windows 10 and 11 can be part of the domain, they can also have local accounts. Remember, Windows 10 and 11 home versions do not support joining to the domain, while other versions do. Group policy is used to centrally manage users and systems. Examples include setting color schemes, setting a background image, disabling changing of the start menu, installing programs, and adding shortcuts to a desktop. Policies can be part of Active Directory or on a local system. Active Directory Group Policy Management Console can be accessed via gpmc.msc if you have the Active Directory tools loaded or on a domain controller. Local group policies can be accessed via gpedit.msc. The Microsoft Remote Desktop Protocol, or RDP, provides remote display and input capabilities over the network connections for Windows-based applications running on a computer, usually a server. RDP allows users to control their remote Windows machines. With RDP, you see the remote desktop, including the start menu, the taskbar, and any running applications, and you can use your mouse and keyboard to interact with the remote desktop. All versions of Windows 10 and 11, you can use remote desktop connections that connect to a Windows computer that runs the remote desktop service and allows RDP connections. However, it is not possible to connect to an RDP session on home editions of Windows 10 and 11. Home editions of Windows 10 and 11 do not have the remote desktop service. BitLocker Drive Encryption is a data protection feature that encrypts the hard drive that addresses the threats of data theft or exposure from lost, stolen, or inappropriately decommissioned computers. BitLocker provides the maximum protection when used with TPM version 1.2 or later versions. Trusted Platform Module, or TPM chip, is a secure crypto processor that is designed to carry out cryptographic operations, including generating, storing, and limiting the use of cryptographic keys. BitLocker is not available with home editions of Windows 10 and 11, but is available on other versions of Windows 10 and 11. The Encrypting File System, or EFS, provides encryption for individual files. Question: what is the maximum memory that 32-bit version of Windows can use? Answer 4 gigabytes. Question: how much memory does 64-bit Windows 11 Enterprise support? Answer 6 terabytes. Question: which of the following is the lowest version of Windows 11 that supports remote desktop? Answer Pro. Question: what do you call an upgrade that retains the settings and files to remain? Answer in place upgrade. Question: how do you perform an in place upgrade from Windows 8.0 to Windows 10? Answer: you'll first need to upgrade to 8.1, then upgrade to Windows 10. Question: which of the following is not a new feature of Windows 11 when comparing to Windows 10? Answer: built in remote desktop. Question: what is the minimum amount of memory for Windows 11? Answer 4 gigabytes. Question: which of the following uses a centralized security database stored on centralized servers? Answer: domains. Question: you have a computer running 32-bit Windows 10 with the following hardware: quad core processor, 400 gigabytes of hard drive space, 8 gigabytes of memory, and a touchscreen running at 1920 by 1080 at 24-bit color. Which hardware can be taken full advantage if you upgrade to 64-bit Windows? Answer: 8 gigabytes of memory. Question: which of the following is required to install Windows 11? Choose two answers. Answers: GPM and UEFI. Question: what is Windows 11 N Edition? Answer: Windows aimed at the European market without the Windows Media Player. For more information, visit these sites. In summary, Windows 10 is successor to Windows 7 and 8/8.1, and Windows 11 is the successor to Windows 10. While Windows is the most common computer operating system, the current versions are Windows 10 and Windows 11. Windows 10 can use either the 32-bit architecture or 64-bit architecture, while Windows 11 only has the 64-bit version. Windows 10 and 11 Home is designed for use in PCs, tablets, and 2-in-1 PCs, which include all features directed at consumers. Windows 10 and 11 Pro is a business version of Windows that supports connection to client via remote desktop, BitLocker full disk encryption, Hyper-V virtual machine server, and supports joining to a Windows domain and domain group policies. Windows 10 and 11 Enterprise is built for larger companies and requires a volume license. It supports AppLocker, which can control what applications can run, Branch Cache, which is remote site file caching, and granular user experience control, including kiosk and workstation customizations. Thank you for watching this video. The next video will be Windows Installation Part 1, Creating a Bootable Windows Installation USB Drive. If you like this video, click the like button, and if you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Has Your Back channel. Thank you.